This is the Local Service Business Podcast, brought to you by Launch27, the online booking form and service management tool that powers thousands of local service businesses around the world. Every week, we bring you a new episode with a different Launch27 user to discuss wins, challenges, and to impart wisdom from our journey in business to our listeners. We're glad you're here to join us. Today, we're going to be talking to Nathan, and I will let him go ahead and introduce himself and his company, and we'll get started. Hey, Nathan.
Thanks, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. So my name is Nathan. I'm the owner of Automaid, based out of Calgary, Alberta. And I guess a little bit about me. I have a fairly extensive sales and customer service background, and also a little bit of digital marketing, which is why I got into everything. And that's about it for that.
Okay, very cool. So tell us about your business and the name of your business and what made you decide to start it.
Yeah, so Automaid, this company I own, I'm actually co-owner with Boris from the group. I don't know if anyone knows him, but he had kind of come to me one day just, wanting to start a company, and the both of us, we'd been talking about it for quite a while. And one day we stumbled across the case study that Rohan was actually doing. I think it was the ride-along on Reddit, and maybe it had been that or the local case study that you guys had on the website. And with my marketing background and everything, we thought that it might be a pretty good idea to go ahead and give that a shot. We'd done quite a bit of research in the industry at first, and we noticed that the cleaning industry in our city in particular was somewhat struggling. Like, there's definitely some decent competition, but a lot of it was just franchises, not a lot of actual online-based businesses. And we decided to just roll with it.
Okay, very cool. So your background's marketing. What about Boris?
So Boris, he's actually a biology major, but he has been running his dad's driving company for quite a while. I guess probably at least 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
And so, so we got a bio guy and a marketing guy.
So he had experience, I guess, then in local service?
Him? Yeah, so he has quite a bit in Calgary. My parents have also owned businesses in Calgary, and I'd say we both kind of have a little bit of expertise. Definitely him more than I do in terms of like the operations and services side of things, whereas I'm more of the, like I said, marketing and sales guy. But, yeah.
Okay, cool. So how long have you been in business? I think, about a year and a half now?
Yeah, so we're coming up on a year and a half. We launched in about, I'd say, December 2016. I forgot what month it is now. What, May? Yeah, so a year and a half on the dot. And
Oh, very cool. So with you having the marketing background and Boris having, you both having some local background, what has been your struggle so far? I've seen, you in both Launch27 and Overthink, and I've seen you guys grow rapidly. So what's been your struggle since, things seem to be going well?
Yeah, I think that's probably every single person in the group can agree with us, but it's most likely hiring. Finding the right contractors, just getting the right staff in place, and it's honestly, it's constantly an ongoing thing. Every single time we think we've got it down and we've got the perfect staff, there's just so many uncontrollable variables that come up. And to be like completely honest with you, we've started to notice that it's seriously just a matter of changing your system pretty much every month. I mean, like, you're constantly coming up with new ways to hire, finding new things to vet your cleaners and contractors for, and without a doubt, like, it's a struggle that I don't anticipate ever going away. So it's something that's a work in process for sure.
So what different kind of things have you done to mitigate the struggle? And does your area, do you have a good, would you say like a good workforce, or is it difficult to hire people? I mean,
honestly, it's so it's kind of weird. Like in Calgary, we have well over 1 million people here, and the economy was struggling for quite a while. I'd say for a good 3 to 4 years now. So there's definitely been a lack of jobs, and we came into this market sort of assuming that there's going to be a ton of contractors and people looking for work, regardless of what it is. We're not paying minimum wage; we're paying fairly decent wages. And it just comes down to quality control and the consistency, which has been the issue. But a few things that we've actually done to mitigate that and deal with it would be really just lengthening our process for one. I know that one thing a lot of business owners like to do is they tend to get desperate. Obviously you want to fulfill schedules and everything like that, and suddenly you find a contractor who just simply says like, oh yeah, sure, I'll take some work, and you start throwing it their way. We have found that just causes more problems in the end. So we've really gotten a lot more patient with it. We've created we've got like an actual extensive careers page which asks a bunch of qualifying questions. It asks for their resume. Once that happens, we do a phone interview. Once the phone interview happens, we do an in-person interview. Once that happens, we do a test clean. It's really like we're consistently lengthening the process. There's no shortcuts really, is what we're starting to learn.
Do you have employees or contractors?
We work solely with contractors. We're kind of thinking that in terms of working with employees, we might eventually, once it starts to get a little harder to fulfill the schedule, because we definitely have some contractors in place with full-time availability. It's just a matter of flexibility and being able to control that percentage while we still have the amount of work that we do.
Do you so when you're going through this lengthy process, if someone's gone through the whole process up until maybe even the test clean, like what percentage of people would you say end up working out long term, maybe more than 6 months or a year?
I would say 5%.
Okay.
If I'm being really honest, like the turnover is ridiculous, and it's I don't think that it's necessarily anything that we're doing wrong or that any other company necessarily does wrong so much. There's just too many variables. Like for instance, we just had a team of contractors who quit on us because they had too much work. So they were getting too much on their own, and then combined with the fact that we were constantly feeding them leads, and it just became overwhelming. We also, we have our strike systems and everything. So if ever contractors are letting us down in any regard, then we tend to pull the plug. So again, it's not to cause any issues in the long run. So yeah, I think 5% is probably pretty accurate.
So you're basically always hiring then?
Always. It's ongoing 24/7 basically.
So I see you guys basically doubled in the past couple months. Do you want to talk about how you did that, where this massive growth spurt came from?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we are doing, I'd say, about 40,000 per month in revenue, which obviously it's month 17, month 18. So there's been a consistent amount of growth, and we continue to see that grow, I'd say about 10 to 15%. We honestly noticed a lot of it came from our SEO. Like, I'm pretty sure most people have seen my extensive post on L27 and everything about that. And we had worked alongside Steve. And it was just, you combine that with the fact that we actually had a really strong brand, and we've always consistently been on top of our reviews, making sure that we're 5 stars, we're constantly leaving brand awareness wherever we can. Really, like the second we got those major key terms to the front page, and we were, I think it was like top 3 to 4 for most major terms at the moment. That's when we really saw that spur, because quite frankly, like especially around this time of year, people are starting to get cleaning done, spring cleaning, they're wanting to get their houses cleaned, and it just, I guess we really lucked out in terms of having a lot of those results in recurring cleans too, which is obviously what everyone aims for. We just acted upon the fact that seasonally we were going to get a lot of cleans, and we're really good at converting them essentially.
Very nice. So then you don't do, what are your methods of advertising? Do you do a lot of advertising now that SEO is really starting to pan out?
We don't do a ton. So I also do like AdWords management and whatnot as part of my digital marketing background, and we have sort of just gotten into that. We're obviously generating fairly positive ROI. I do anticipate we're going to double down on that soon, but I would say for the most part, we focus a lot on organic, and essentially wherever we can get traffic from breadcrumbs, essentially across the internet, like social profiles, Yelp. We have Kijiji, which is basically like Craigslist. I don't know if you know much about it, but really just we take advantage of all the different platforms and avenues. And I'd say in terms of like actual advertising, it's super minimal aside from SEO.
So how did you get your first jobs in? Where were you posting to get your first jobs?
So first jobs, I would say that basically the process was we started out with the brand. my wife, she designed our brand and everything. We got like the social profiles created, and we started basically just posting wherever we could. Like the whole idea was to take our foundation, which was the website, and litter it across the internet consistently. I think we got our first ever organic booking about 3 weeks into having the company up. That it sort of came out of nowhere. We still don't even know where it came from. It might have came from Yelp. I don't remember. But besides that, we pushed really hard with word of mouth. We, just started advertising our business to friends and family. We started getting those reviews rolling. At that point, once we had established that we had the full 5-star profile everywhere, and people started to know about us, that's when we really saw the organic bookings come in more and more.
Okay, very nice. And so, since you said you do digital marketing as well, and then Boris, do you guys how much time do you spend on the business since you both have your other things going on?
Yeah, I'd say at this point, it's pretty minimal. We could probably do anywhere from 15 to 20 hours per month. I think it's a little bit different for both him and I, because we have a WhatsApp group, right? So we have an account manager, and she basically deals with all the customers, all the scheduling. She pretty much does everything, but we are consistently, I guess, overseeing decisions. We're part of the hiring process. And in terms of like my marketing efforts, like managing campaigns or doing a little bit of inbound marketing, it can be really, really light depending on the need. If I'm being like super duper honest, I'd say the majority of our time is spent hiring. Like it's almost pointless for us to do marketing half the time, because we're constantly looking for more staff to actually fulfill the schedule.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So about 15 to 20 hours for both of you, and you're bringing in, enough to kind of pay a decent salary for each of you?
Yeah, I'd say at this point we're both, our margins are, I guess our net profits are on like 32.5 to 35% right now.
Oh,
so we can both obviously take a salary. It's just what we do too is we tend to sort of, I guess, I don't know how to put it, but we're hoarding it per se. And especially as we're doing stuff like AdWords and getting into more SEM, we do intend to double down on that and keep on going. So.
Okay, very cool. So what are your revenue goals for this year? And so you went from, I think it was 20-some thousand to 25,000 maybe to 40,000 the next month. Are you still growing at that pace, or what would you say was different that month that you kind of kicked in?
I would say March we really got lucky with the weather. It sounds kind of crazy, but Calgary has the most confusing and fluctuating weather pattern in the entire world. So we could be, I don't know, sunny one day, the next day it's snowing and ridiculous. March was really good weather, and for whatever reason that kind of made people want to book more and get their homes cleaned. So I'd say we got a huge spurt from that. And from that point on, we kept a whole lot of recurring. So the next month after, I think we dropped down maybe a few thousand. It was around like 38,000 or something. But this month, again, we've already had a few bookings. I think we're at about 28 to 29,000 for May already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's May 1st. So I'm anticipating that we're going to get a minimum 12,000 in one-time sales. That also doesn't include whatever recurring we have come through. So I can see a lot of growth coming from that. And basically, like I'm anticipating that we break 500,000 in revenue this year, and hopefully start doing about 60,000 to 65 by the end of the year, or per month. Yeah.
So then where do you guys see yourself in 5 years? Are you going to expand? Are you going to sell? Do you want to keep, kind of growing it and, the partnership and things like that?
So I'm a firm believer in not necessarily expanding. Boris actually likes to argue with me on this, and we go back and forth quite often. But my whole theory is that, we're in a big city. Our target demographic, I would say, is well within, or well up to 100,000 people minimum. And that's just like in the northwest quadrant of our city. So my goal is to eventually get that to a point where we're consistently making at least $1 million per year in revenue. I see no reason why we can't do $5 million per year in revenue, all within Calgary. if we do expand, then we're probably going to take it to the next province over. I mean, the company is called Westmaid, so I don't see why we can't go for, more Western provinces. It's just, it's not necessarily my priority right now. Like, I'm thinking with Calgary alone, we could probably get to, like I said, maybe 10 million per year, ideally. However, we're kind of taking this system in terms of like the service businesses, and we're trying to replicate it wherever we can. Like I just built out a painting business. We've got pressure washing. We have a roofing company, and we're going to see how much we can actually scale, essentially just using this system.
Okay, very cool. So what have you thought about, like lawn care or anything like that? Or is it?
Oh yeah, like, I mean, that's definitely going to be something we do too. The other thing, I mean, there's no reason why we can't have several businesses. It's just the fact that obviously, as we all know, the initial like 6 months when you're starting up this business is incredibly draining. So it's just really making sure that we have the systems in place to continue with that.
That's very cool. So I know I always ask these at the end, and I know you kind of gave us a bit of the explanation, but what's one tip for someone who's just starting out?
Yeah, so just starting. This one is probably somewhat unique, but I would say really hone in on your brand. I believe that the brand is seriously one of the biggest stand apart factors with other businesses, especially. I mean, it was huge for us. We'd noticed that there were a lot of different unique brands and everything, and a lot of them tend to be kind of half-assed, if you will. So what I mean by that is, I'm not saying like everyone go out there and spend tens of thousands on a marketing agency to brand or develop a logo, but it's more the fact that you really need to think about your brand in terms of the consistent message that you want to convey. What I do recommend at some point is, when you're first starting out, maybe look up branding strategies and brand positioning as well. It's really important to just have something that ends up resonating, and then you stick to it throughout the entirety of your company. So if you want to be known as a luxury brand, if you want to be known as a, someone like a fun brand, anything really, you can find that and you got to stick to it, and you make that a part of your story the whole way along. With Westmaid, it's like the main thing that we want to prioritize is that we're definitely more of an expensive company. We have the locale in mind, again, with the name Westmaids and our connection to Calgary. And we have the highest quality. Like, we want it to be consistently known that we are the best, like 5-star reviews, and that's everything that we do. So really, like, you find ways to convey that through your brand, which is essentially just not cheaping out for us in our case. That even shows like our social media, like posts are well designed. We post pictures of nicer homes, anything like that, and that really resonates with people too, because then, especially if you're charging higher prices, you're the highest price in the city, you have that consistency and credibility for that, which is another thing too. I guess I'm kind of going to add on to this tip, if you don't mind, but to make sure that you're never being cheap with pricing either. Pricing it's like one of the biggest things in the world, and I see so many people when they're first starting out their business thinking like, oh, my competitor's charging $129 for a 1-bed, 1-bath. I'm going to charge $119. Don't do that, because honestly, it's the fastest race to the bottom that you'll ever get. If you can just find a way to maintain the quality, keep your reviews up, then you can charge pretty much whatever you want. People are going to pay for that. So
I agree with that completely. That was the biggest mistake I made starting out, is competing with price. And then you end up with all these recurring customers that are paying a lower price than the rest of your, and it's definitely not a good decision to start out with. So I love that tip. And then, since you guys are experts in this, what's your one tip for someone who is starting to scale?
Yeah, so starting to scale, I would say SEO is my favorite thing. Again, I will keep talking about it over and over and over. If you have the brand in place, like you've got the strong foundation, you have a website that you know is converting, you've been doing everything you can to get the website out there and drive traffic, really focus on SEO, whether you're doing it yourself, because there's, everyone knows there's thousands of resources out there, or you're deciding to hire somebody, just do it, because it's so important. I mean, if you really think about everything that we do in regards to the internet, I Google basically everything. I have a hard time like going to the store without first Googling to see which store is closest and what's the best store, so on and so forth. Like, I can't even remember the last time I ate at a restaurant without knowing what the review was prior to that. In which case, like it's such an important thing to prioritize, because getting that organic traffic to a credible business with 5-star reviews, it's a 90% guarantee to actually convert into a sale. Obviously, there's a lot more that you can do besides that to still get that amount of revenue, like PPC or whatever it is. But I would say SEO is the best bang for buck. So
yeah, I love that. And I did see your post. You worked with Steve, right? Correct.
yeah.
You said that, yeah. So I think we are going to go with him for Enjoymaid. So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Steve, because I do know, and I do see him in the different groups doing really well. So that's very cool. And especially knowing that you guys don't do too much advertising yet. So
yeah, no, not at all. I mean, honestly, if we could somehow get away with just doing SEO for the rest of our lives, we probably would. And quite frankly, like I said, based on the hiring struggles, I could very well see that being the main overhead we ever have.
Yeah. That's very, very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this. If anyone has any questions, can they reach out to you in the group?
Yeah, absolutely. People can just message me on Facebook. Feel free to add me, whatever you'd like.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I've been impressed from afar with how quickly you're growing. So I can't wait to see what the next year has in store for you.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Nathan.
All right. No worries.